Hello, welcome to episode 5 of the Eventual Knits podcast. My name is Leah, also known as Miss_LJV on Instagram, and Eventual Knits on Blogspot and YouTube, and on Ravelry I am just Eventual. So good to see you again. You might notice that I look a little different. I do have my hair colored. For the last 7, 8, no, maybe even 9 years, I have colored my hair, and I just have gone through various phases of, do I have just my bangs a bright color? Do I have my whole hair color? I've gone through all shades of the rainbow, and this is Grimm, by the way. I don't know if Grimm has ever made an appearance on the podcast. And I spent the better part of this last school year basically blonde. Like, I started with like a lavender at the beginning of the year, and then I just sort of let it fade out, and it became like that blonde, and I just let the roots get so long to the point where I couldn't stand it, and now I have, it's like a purple with magenta, so just layered over my roots and then over my bleached hair, and I'm super happy with it. I'm still like trying to get used to it because it's a huge change, but I'm really happy with it, and I think that it makes me feel happier and not like a trash bag, because my hair was kind of getting out of control, like lengthwise and sort of like frizzy wise. But I have my tea. Hope you write yours, and so let's get started. Right now it is in the 30s, I think. I think that we have finally like gotten over our last cold snap of the year, and we might actually be looking towards spring. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I am on spring break right now. We're just hitting the tail end of it. Today is Friday, the 15th of March, and so on Monday, go back to work, go back to school, hit the home stretch, finish up our everything that we're learning for the year, and then start our statewide test prep, and then it'll be projects and whatnot for the rest of the year. So there's only a few months left. Knitting wise, I have been up to a lot of things, so let's start with my finished objects. First, I would like to show you that I have 2 finished socks for Steve. However, I am going to have to rip this one out again a little bit and redo some of it. So what we discovered was, I finished this one, and this one is toe up with an afterthought heel and a really stretchy ankle. And when he put it on, he said it felt kind of weird in the heel, and I thought about it and I tried to figure out like what he was saying, because I really like afterthought heels. I like the way they feel on my feet, and so I was just pondering it, and it seemed like the length was okay, and that like the fit was good. But then a few days later, I was wearing some of my own knitted socks that have a gusset, and I feel like I really understood like what he was referring to with the difference between an afterthought heel and a slip stitch heel and gusset. So I did some calculations. I got his exact foot size. I did the gusset on the yarn here, and did a slip stitch heel. For this one, his was 68 inches or stitches instead of the like traditional 64, and it worked really well for him. And we just have a really short ribbing here for the cuff, and this fits him really, really well. So he really, really liked how this ended up feeling on his heel and on his foot, and so I'm going to just rip this one back and do the same thing, just add a gusset and a heel that way, and then he'll finally, for real, have a pair of finished socks. Yay! After like, well, I don't even know, like a year and a half maybe. Yay! I'm super excited about it because this has been such a long time coming. I really want him to have a pair of socks that he wears. He said that he could tell just by putting the one on that like it's going to be warm weather socks, so like when his feet are really cold, and he likes soft comfy things, but he also kind of hates socks as a thing. Like one of his favorite things when he gets home is to take off his socks because they're tight or itchy or, you know, whatever. And so I'm curious as to how much wear they will actually get, and I know he will not wear them outside the house. Like, I know they will be too precious for him to want to do that. So almost have a pair of finished socks. The next thing that I have finished, you guys, is the Shortcut Cowl by Stephanie Lotvin. So, look at this. Ooh, love it. It's so gorgeous. Fits so nice. So, I decided to participate in the Shortcut Cowl Cal. I think the official hashtag she said on Instagram is the Shortcut Cal, K-A-L, but I've been calling it the Shortcut Cowl Cal. And for this, I used my Spin Cycle yarns, the dyed in the wool, the 400 yards colorway Heart Sigh, and I showed you a couple episodes ago the two skeins that I had, and I used them both. So if you look at Stephanie's example, she has a main color, and you start here, you start at the top. So you start like here, and you knit side to side. It's knit flat until you get to a certain point down here, and then you attach it. It's really clever, and you attach it in the back, and it ends up really, really awesome. So you start here, so I start with the main color, you knit this whole chunk in the main color. There's a brief part here where you add in the contrast color, and it's really subtle on mine because both of the skeins were the same colorway, and so they were slightly different. This one, the main color one, had a lot more grays and a lot more subtle pinks, and the contrasting color had a lot more twists of color. And so I had this vision in my head about it being this like fade, this gradient from gray to pink with some white, and that's kind of how it ended up working out. I was so worried the colors were going to drown each other out. If you look at, I didn't bring my iPad. I did. If you look at Stephanie's example, she uses like really, really bright contrasting colors. I believe that it was part of an ebook, also with other like really bright projects. So let's see here. Shortcut Cowl, Stephanie Lotvin. Yeah. So on hers, you can see that it is like super bright and like loud, and I had looked at a couple of the samples, and some of them weren't nearly as bright, and they were pretty subdued, or maybe were like one color. And so I thought, okay, it's definitely gonna work to do this. I just wasn't sure if the colors would line up very well or if they would end up looking very good together. And so after you do the front, the top part, the thin part, the narrow part. You join it in the round, and then you start doing these little sections here. So there's a slanty section, I can't remember what she called that, like a tilted section, and then there's like a little bit of a garter, which looked really cool with mine because of the pink and gray twists that there were. And then there's a diamond, which has more pink, and then we get into some pink grays here at the end. And so it ended up being like so beautiful, exactly what I wanted. I guess I would say that like it would have been cool if I had more of the white gray twist, because it's like silvery, shimmery, whatever, but like this ends up working out so well. And it's like a shawl, but you don't have to worry about like the ends of the shawl, and you don't have to worry about wearing it right if it like, you know, ends up like not working on you or like falls off. Like this is so perfect. And you guys, like, I got so excited about this that I knit it technically over 3 days, but I did this first part first. I got like this whole section done, and then I worked on it a teeny bit the following day. But then I think it was like a Thursday, Friday, and then on Saturday, or maybe it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I spent like, I kid you not, like 17 hours straight on this. Like I could not stop. Like I think it was a Friday to Saturday, and I like worked on it. Like the second I had time in the afternoon, I stayed up all night. I went to bed, like I blocked it at like 7:30 in the morning, and then went to bed. Like it was like the start of my spring break, like let's go. Yeah, I was just so hyped to wear it, and I could not wait to like see how it turned out. I was so excited to show Steve. Just like I've been like wearing it like almost nonstop since. Like I love it. I honestly like will probably make more of them because it was so good. And like the lace itself and the diamond part was just challenging enough to like keep my like focus, but like the rest of it, like it, I mean, the sections change so often. Oh yeah, there's a little eyelet section I didn't mention, and then like the what she called waves down here. Look at how clever this is. Like it doesn't have to be a super loud pop in order to be like super amazing. So I was so excited about this, and like cannot wait to wear this all day, every day, forever. So you should really check out the Shortcut Cowl by Stephanie Lotvin. It's an amazing pattern and was really fun to knit, and like knitting it flat and then joining in the round was not challenging at all, like all. You can definitely do it. And yeah, so that's the first like big thing that I've gotten finished recently. Actually, I think that's probably all I have finished. But yeah. Now let's do what I am currently working on. So I am working on lots of things right now. I haven't mentioned my vanilla latte socks in a while. I'm not going to show you them because I'm like not really any further on them. I think I'm at the part where I need to do the heel. I've only done one pair of top-down socks ever, and so I'm on the top-down part, or I'm doing top-down, so I think I'm at the part where I need to start making the heel, and I assume decreases. I don't know, somewhere where I can't just keep knitting forever. So those are kind of on pause until I can like double check and make sure the pattern and how I'm supposed to do it. But over the last month, I have started the whether or not scarf. So this pattern was conceived at the yarnery. I think I mentioned it by someone at the yarnery, and so the idea is that you write down the normal temperatures for each month, and then as you go, you write down was it higher or was it lower than the average, or was it the same, about the same as the average. So in the directions, it doesn't say like what the same is, and I assume the same doesn't mean literally exactly the same. So I'm doing it, I think, within 2 degrees either way, right? Plus or minus 2 degrees, because I feel like that seems reasonable. I feel like once we get into like plus or minus 3 or 4 degrees, that can be a big difference in temperature, especially in the colder months. And so I am already behind again. I think I started this at the very end of February, and I got all caught up, got all of these things, and now I'm a month behind again, almost, or two weeks behind. So what you do is they have kits at the yarnery in St. Paul, and so you have yarn for the different temperatures. So on here it gives you like a few examples. So it says if you live near St. Paul, and it gives you the color spectrum that it suggests for these specific colors and a temperature range. So like it says the lowest is 14 and below, then 15 to 29, 30 to 44, 45 to 59, 60 to 74, 75 to 89, and 90 and above. And then it also says like if you live somewhere with hot summers and mild winters, and it gives you a range there. So 54 degrees and below, 105 degrees and above is the range. If you live in a temperate climate where you don't get big temperature swings, so this one looks like it gives you a 6 degree difference, so 45 and below up to 80 and above. And then it says if you live somewhere with frigid winters and cool summers, so it has 4 and below to 70 and above. And so I have adjusted mine a couple times just because of how I kind of feel the different temperatures feel. So I changed ours to be 5 and below, 6 to 17, 18 to 29, 30 to 34, then 45 to 59, 60 to 74, 75 to 89, and then I added a color to 90 and above. So this is what we've got here. So our coldest temperatures, the 5 and below, is this is Holst yarn. It's Coast, and then this colorway is Butterfly. So it's 55% lamb's wool, 45% cotton, the 383 yards. It's a really, it says 2.5 to 3 millimeter needles. Yeah, it's really, really thin yarn. It's very, not itchy. I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of. Like a gentle twine. I don't know. That's like an insult, I feel like. But it is really, really thin yarn. It's not the same kind I'm ever used to working on. Yeah, but so Butterfly is the coldest. Then next is J. Oh, J is the original color. This is Harbor. Again, these are all the same. They come in a pack. This is the 6 degrees to 17 degrees. This one is Ice Sea. This is the 18 to 29. So, oh, this one's currently on my needles. Oh, I must have assumed it was going to be that temperature. Then next, the 30 to 44 is Ivanhoe, which is kind of a green, like a teal kind of. Then next, 45 to 59 is Meadow, which is kind of a lighter green. Yeah, that's more true. Lighter green. Then Aconite is 60 degrees to 74 degrees. It's kind of a gold. Then this is Jaffa. It's an orange. feel like it's coming in as much more red. It's definitely an orange, like a very like bright solid orange. And then lastly, the one I added for the 90 and above, because we do get pretty hot summers, and I don't really feel like 75 and above works here. I guess it did say like 90 and above before, but like because I added the cold, I didn't really feel like it. If you look at the colors, that spectrum, I didn't feel like there needed to be anything that indicated even colder. I feel like purple does a pretty good job for cold, so I thought, well, let's add a hot. Like, how come this whole thing doesn't have a red? So this is just this is crimson, and this is for the 90 and above temperatures that we are going to get this summer. So up through February, this is what I've got. It's got a little wrinkly in my bag. So as you can see, in January, we were pretty on point in like the 6 to 17s, and then a couple 18 to 29s, and then these crazy, we had a couple 44, 45 degree days, I think, 46 maybe. Yeah, 46 and 47 in the beginning of January, and then it starts getting a little colder, and then warmer, colder, then getting cold, getting cold, getting cold. Here's the polar vortex, cold, cold, cold. And then we got another couple days here in the vortex, and then it's been so cold since then, or it had been. So you'll notice that the pattern itself kind of changes a little bit. So if it's colder than average for the year, you do these bumps over here, and then if it's like the same, let's find some that are the same. There's like a couple here where you just basically knit across if it's like as expected, and then you have these ridges over here if it's warmer than average. And so yeah, this is the warmer than average. And so you have this whole section over here where it's been colder than it's supposed to be with that polar vortex. So it's been pretty cool. I'm not sure yet, like obviously you have to block it and all that kind of stuff, but like look at how thin this is. This is so thin. I'm knitting this on 3.25 mil needles, US 3s. I think the original pattern says 4s, but it said if you were using this yarn, the Coast, that you should use smaller needles, which yes, you should. I added, I think, 9 stitches to make it wider, otherwise it would have been way too thin in my opinion, or narrow. So I added some stitches on either side so it's a little bit wider. I'm super excited to see how this ends up turning out for the entire year. Like obviously I'm not great at knitting a row a day, which I should be. I don't know why. It's been just sitting downstairs next to me all the time. Like I really should just do it. So my goal is to catch back up on this, and I will keep you guys posted on my progress. So this is January and February. And I'm excited next time to show you the actual true parts of March. Give me a second here while I put all this away. Look at these colors. Beautiful. All right, next. I have continued to work on my self-indulgent knit-along shawl. I can't remember, or cowl. I can't remember when the self-indulgent knit-along actually ends, or if I'm actually gonna finish in time. I wanna say April, but I'm not 100% sure. So I've just been working on this. This is my 100% silk, 2 colorways. One is Bayou and the other one is Jungle. Jungle, I think, Bayou. They're getting kind of messy in my bag, whoops. And this is Serenity. It's the Hampton cowl, that's what it is. The Claudia hand-painted yarn Serenity. Yes, and I'm knitting them on US 3s, 3.25 mil needles. I've just been knitting it in my downtimes or like at work or whatever when I have time. So it's getting pretty, it's getting kind of wide. I think you're supposed to use like all of the yarns. So I mean, that's what I'm kind of doing. I'm just knitting in circles. It starts with kind of a garter border, but then basically it's just stockinette. So I'm just doing that. It is so soft. I mean, it's 100% silk. I've only found, I think, one knot, and it was really small. Hopefully, I guess I didn't check to see if it would come undone. Hopefully it'll be fine. And I think I had broken the yarn once when I was winding it. So, but for the most part, it's been really, really good so far. So just working on that. Can't wait to have a cowl. This is in my Becca Rand bag, I believe. I believe that's who this is by. I'll put it in the show notes. The next thing I am working on, remember this mauve bag? So excited, I love this bag. I have still been working on my Goldfish Memory shawl by Casapinka. I don't know where I was last time I showed you, but I have one repeat left, I believe. I think I finished like all of the main ones, and then there's like all of these, like you do full repeats and then you do like another half repeat. So I am basically done with this section and almost ready to move on to the next one. It's like really like coming together here. Really excited. The last time I knit on this was a couple weekends ago. I went to that yarn meetup I told you about that was supposed to be sort of inviting BIPOC and LGBTQIA. Like it was supposed to be this huge welcoming thing, and it did have a pretty big turnout. I mean, the Yarnery is a really small shop. However, it was still mostly white people, which was really disappointing. And that was my kind of fear. Like, it was a really cold day that day. And like, because of the way the shop is set up, I mean, it's like a converted house into a shop on Grand Avenue in St. Paul. And so like when you walked in, they had chairs, but it was because it was like the place is like a converted house. It's like they had to be in like little groups. And so like there was like, 6 to 8 chairs in each grouping. And so there was like people there, but you kind of got stuck with wherever you sat. And that was kind of disappointing because I felt like you couldn't meet as many people or talk to as many different people as you could. And I get that we were mostly sitting because everyone's kind of knitting or crocheting or whatever. And like, I guess it was cool meeting people, but it was also kind of disappointing because, like, for example, all of the people in my group, they were all women except for there was one man and he worked at the shop. They all grew up in like more rural parts of Minnesota, and it's like even things like, where do you get your yarn? And it's like, oh, I get all my yarn at Knit Picks or here, the Yarnery, and that kind of thing. And so like that kind of stalls conversation for me. Like, I did not grow up in rural Minnesota, and so like like, again, no offense to my ladies, like they were perfectly fine, but just like talking about like, oh, I went to this rural college, and oh, I know about that college, let's talk about the alumni of the college. I don't know, it's just stuff that I just don't really connect to. One of the colleges they did talk about is Carleton College. So there's a school in Minnesota called Carleton, and it's a private school, and one of my like really good friends slash colleagues went to Carleton, and she's still friends with a lot of people she went to school with. I mean, she was on the swimming team, and like made like lifelong friendships. And the women in my group, they were a couple of them were talking about how everyone who went to Carleton is super close to everyone they went to school with. So obviously they do something with their culture that like you're like best friends with people you go to school with, which was not my college experience. I went to college to graduate, which, looking back, it's like, I really should have just taken a step back and like made more friends and all that kind of stuff. But I was just really driven to get my schooling done. Like, I wasn't interested in making a lot of friends. I mean, I was part of GSA, and like I like worked with Planned Parenthood for like sexuality and health awareness and stuff like that. But I didn't like actively do a lot of stuff on any community. And like my community in high school, I was like in band, and band was where like everyone was either in band or choir in my high school, like, or drama. You were in one of the three. And like that was not the experience of my boyfriend Steve. Like, it was kind of like the kind of odd kids, were the ones in band or drama or choir. And that was where I went to school, you were in one of them, because a lot of kids, I think, like, you had to do an elective in high school, and you didn't want to do, like, a lot of kids didn't want to do like art or whatever. And so I just think that music or like acting in some capacity was I'm getting fibers all in my nose again, was just really common in all grades. Like, they made it really easy to access music for us in school. So when I was in high school, band was my way of like connecting. Like, I was in jazz band and all that kind of stuff, and I played trombone and euphonium. And so when I got to college and I had no interest in being in the college band, having like the college expectations, then I just sort of fell out of that. Anyway, huge tangent. Point is I was kind of disappointed. I want to say like maybe 4 people of color that I saw. There was a woman who was an Indian American. She was born in Minnesota, grew up in Minnesota, but her parents immigrated from India. So there was that. And there were a couple of women who appeared to be Hmong. And I didn't get to talk to any of them. I didn't get to talk to really, like, I just got to talk to people in my group, and they were plenty nice, and it was fun. And I just, it makes me wonder how, like, where did they advertise this? Like, I only knew about it because I'm on the Yarneries newsletter. Like, did they put up flyers anywhere? Did they have any sort of community outreach to, like, reach people who feel that they are not being represented, or who are maybe haven't even heard of the Yarnery, or don't know that it's a welcoming space, or whatever, and it just made me think, like, if I was on that team, I would have done all these different things, like, I just, like, I want people to, like, be a part of this. And in order to do that, though, you have to, like, get out there and, like, get the word out, and, like, really encourage people to come and, like, tell them that you're serious. So anyway, that's my soapbox. It was kind of disappointing. I'm glad I went, but it was kind of disappointing. It also reiterated for me that just general knit night stuff is just not for me. I'm just so introverted. I just kind of want to quietly sit by myself and whatnot. But it was a good experience, I guess. So anyway, Goldfish Memory Shawl, still working on that. The last thing that I am currently working on I started yesterday, 2 days ago, is the My Boy Lollipop shirt. So it is a crop top shirt, knit top down. As you can see, I have the sleeves on holders right now. I've never made a top before, not a real top. I'm super excited. It looks really cute. This is by Getting Pearly with It. That's her full name. It is, I want to say it's Nikki. Nancy Ricci. So yeah, I was getting the Ricci part with Nikki and ICCI. So Nancy Ricci, Getting Pearly with It. She has so many good examples of this project, and I like had to make it. So I just want to show you a couple pictures of a finished product here. Ah, she's so darling. Okay, so this is, so it's just it's a crop top. I'm gonna definitely make it long enough to not like show my belly or anything like that. I don't usually wear that kind of thing, but I'm already at the point where I'm finishing the bust and I'm gonna start the decreases for the waist. So my only concern is that I've got pretty big arms, like, you know, I have just like the, you know, got flabby after I became an adult, and so like they said the finished measurements for my size, which, so it's knit with 2 inches of negative ease, it says at least, and the gauge is 5 stitches per inch, and when I did my swatch in the 7s, I got 5.5 stitches per inch, so I went up to 8s, and in my swatch I still ended up with 5.5 stitches per inch, even though I was knitting it in the round. And so I was like, screw it, like I'm just gonna try to be consciously knitting a little bit looser with the 8s. I'm not going up another needle size. There's no way. And I ended up with, I've checked it multiple times and I'm getting gauged the whole time. So it's super awesome. This is knit in Malabrigo. I have 2 skeins. I don't think I'll actually need 2 skeins at all, but it's Malabrigo Arroyo in colorway Anniversario. It's superwash merino, 335 yards, 100 grams. It says the word arroyo refers to a brook or stream in Spanish. I really would need to hear that. I bet you have to roll your R's, and I cannot roll my R's. Even though I'm Hispanic, I can't roll my R's. But yeah, this is the yarn. It's super, super vibrant and fun and beautiful. It matches my hair really well. That was not done on purpose. That just is how it worked out. Yeah, so I'm at the part with the decreases. Super, super excited. This was insanely easy to knit so far. Like, holy crap, if all tops are like this, I'm going to be making them. Oh, but anyway, so 2 inches of negative ease. So my bust is about a 37, and I'm just assuming it's let's just say it's a 36, and so I picked the 34 for the top. It's supposed to be quite fitted, and then the finished waist, like I think it's 34, and then it goes down to 32 in the waist shaping, and my waist is a 31. So it'll be just a teensy bit loose, which is what I want. I don't want it to be super skin tight in that area. Like across my chest is fine, but like I don't want it to be like riding up because it's too tight on my waist. So 32 will be perfect. But here, I think my arms are like 11 and a half or not quite 12 inches around, but I think maybe 11 and a half. And it said the finished for this will be 11. So I'm not sure if I'm just going to knit more loosely or cast on more stitches or just knit it as it is and see what happens, because the sleeves are not that long in the finished product. Like the sleeves basically just kind of cover the shoulder, right? So we'll see how that goes. I will let you know next time, but I'm super excited. I plan to basically finish this tonight if possible. If not tonight, then tomorrow or this weekend. Very, very excited to have this. So That is the My Boy Lollipop. All right, I think that is all for what I'm working on. Before I go, I'd like to talk a little bit about what yarns I have, what things I have acquired since the last time I have had a full-on podcast. I know I did the first half of the February challenge. Don't worry, I will finish those, even though I know it's mid-March. That will be like a bonus episode at some point. Before I forget, I really wanted to show you these things that I have gotten from the Clever Clove. So, I have a adorable pin. I knit past my bedtime. Literally true, that's what I do. It's so cute, little kitty. Very, very adorable. And then I also got a couple of super adorable Progress Keepers. Oh, showing it to me, not to you. Little llama. And a little sheep. So cute. There, so cute. That's from the Clever Clove. I also had a t-shirt I had to send back from Tao Win. I'm trying to think of what her handle is. Oh, Nerdbird Makery. I ordered a really cute t-shirt from her. It's called like Fuel Up on Fiverr, and then it has like little things that represent food, but like it's made out of yarn, and it's so cute. But I like completely misunderstood the sizing on there. When I order stuff from like online websites like the Yeti or Tea Turtle or something like that, I usually order a men's medium or a women's large, or sometimes even a women's extra large, depending on it. And like I'm not like a giant person, but like I have big parts, and so I really hate to get things that are too small. So I ordered a large of this shirt because it was a women's sizing, I believe, and it was like way too wide. Like it was like did not work for me at all. I could not, like, it was one of those things where like I grabbed like 5 inches of it in the back and pulled it, and it was like, oh, perfect, I just gotta pin it up. So I messaged her. She was totally cool with exchanging it. I'm just gonna exchange it for a small. I think that the medium even will be too big. So I'm super excited to get that. I'll show it to you when I get it. They're adorable. Yarn acquisitions. I got from Sea Turtle Fiber Arts this Ridley sock, 80% merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. It is in the colorway Drops of Jupiter. It's like a navy and white with speckles. And it came with a contrast yarn, which was adorable and cute. I can't remember if I picked one or if I said surprise me. I honestly don't remember if it's random or not. And I saw this, and in the colorway, and like Drops of Jupiter, like when we were growing up, my sister and I like really like had a lot of things that we really loved, and Drops of Jupiter was one of those songs that like really stuck with us. And like if I ever go to karaoke or anything like that, like that's like the song I sing, like and it's a song you can get everyone basically just singing it, that kind of thing. And so like I was like, I have to have this yarn. And so I went online and I went to buy 2 skeins of it because I wanted to make some socks for me and maybe some socks for her. I think that'd be really cute. I think with 400 yards I can make socks for both of us, but I just wanted to be safe. But this was the last one, and it was just posted. So thank God I was able to get this. I'm so happy, so excited. Drops of Jupiter in her hair. Anyway, so very happy. Sea Turtle Fiber Arts. These, I think I got at the end of February or maybe January. This is Meadow Yarns. The Who sock, 75% wool, 25% nylon, 425 meters per 100 grams. This is hand in hand. I just really liked how pretty this was. Like, just, it was like an end of like Christmas thing. I think I ordered in January maybe or something. Super excited about it. I think I was gonna make a shawl with it. I can't remember, but I got two of these. I'll find a good use for them. And whew, oh, this one is so good, you guys. So this is Amelia made it. This is a sock set. The colorway is Me Too with the hot pink speckle mini. Like, I think she lets you pick which speckle mini you get, and so I picked the hot pink. This is a gorgeous color. It stripes up so amazingly. Like, I cannot believe how beautiful this ends up striping up. And it's in the Me Too colorway, and she had just posted about how, like, she's a really small shop and she couldn't believe like how excited people were about it. But it's one of those things where, like, the second I saw the socks knit up, I was like, oh my god, I have to have this. Ah, look at how look at how it ends up. Oh, there, kind of. Like, so it ends up like striping up in this kind of like rainbowy with like the really good contrast color, and so I'm really excited about it. I waited a while for it. So happy. Cannot wait to knit with it. I have so much. I'm like looking over at my sock yarn. Like, you guys, I have so much socks to make, and they're so good, all of them. Blessed. Last thing I want to talk about is the most recent. I participate in the Darn Good Yarn. It says Start at Love. Start at Love means being compassionate with the intent to make a positive change in the universe. We believe the application of starting at love with everything you do leads to a happier world. So Darn Good Yarn. It's women in India repurpose, I think it is just silk, usually, and like just different kinds of silk. This one is lace weight silk yarn called Sparkle Sandy Beach, 300 yards, 50 grams. And, you know, the proceeds go towards helping women and supporting them in India. So I have taken other little bits, like they all come with projects like that you can make with them, like, you know, small like cowls or hats or that kind of thing, but I've just kind of taken them and made my own things with them. But this one is particularly gorgeous. And they always like give you like little things with them. So like a couple months ago, it was a hook and needle case, like this super cute case. This last month was a bunch of, they're not in here because I took them out, but stitch markers, and it was a bunch of them, and they were the clasp stitch markers. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. I really like supporting it. It makes me like, I'm excited to see what surprises we get, and I'm happy to be supporting that cause. You should definitely check them out. Darn Good Yarn. I think that's it for all of my yarny stuff. It's like I'm working on a bunch of different projects, and I feel like I haven't, like I definitely have to have some like around the house somewhere that I'm forgetting about. But I also have been working really hard on finishing things that I can finish, and so I'm really excited to share those with you. Otherwise, in life stuff, as I said, we're coming back from spring break. As far as dance games, I'm still in a competition right now with other people. Right now it's like pretty heated between me and like 4 other guys, and I think I'm second place right now. I think I'm gonna probably stay second place. The main person I'm competing with is really good, and but I have definitely improved so much anyway. Like, I mean, it's been really cool, the competition, and it's been good getting that exercise and that kind of thing. I haven't been going to yoga again. Like, in the winter, I usually fall off the yoga bandwagon. Like, I just like can't motivate myself to leave the house. It is so hard. I'm so cold and tired and get that depression and all that kind of thing. So really want to get back into yoga now that it's getting warmer. And one of my colleagues, I guess, used to be a yoga teacher. I don't know, like officially, or if it was like on the side. I didn't ask her, but she's one of my co-teachers, and I like her a lot. And she wants to kind of start like a weekly sort of after-school thing for, I think, just for the adults, if you want to come to yoga. So I'll definitely start going to that too. At my studio, they just they just moved to a new location, and they have a spot where you can just keep your yoga mat instead of bringing it. So I have a couple spares, but my main yoga mat is at my studio. Cats are doing good. They're both just over here. You can't see them, but one is right down here and one is over there. And yeah, I made a peanut stew recently from an ebook of recipes. I can't remember if they're vegetarian or vegan. That like to die for. I used it's a peanut stew, and it's chickpeas and peanuts, and it's in the Love Real Food More Than 100 Feel Good Vegetarian Favorites. It was a base of, it had chickpeas and spices, and it said you could use like kale or collard greens, and I used collard greens, and it made it so good. Oh my god, and it made so much stew, and it was very flavorful. Yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, if you like vegetarian meals, this is definitely not like a quick book, but I think it has some things that are like quick to make, but this is like, that probably took an hour, like from start to finish, like with the simmering and all that kind of stuff, but it lasted over a week, you know, for two of us. And so, you know, that's definitely something, if you like to cook, you should maybe check that out. Love Real Food. I think that's it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a like, give it a comment, follow me on Instagram. Otherwise, I will probably see you in a couple weeks. Bye.